Hello people, I just wanted to make a little video in reply to the TV programme. It was aired on Thursday evening at 9 o'clock, The Truth About Travellers. This was directed by a woman called Sharon Ward. Now Sharon Ward, you can go on the internet and you can have a little look and try and find her. You'll see her appear quite a few times. You can see tweets of her being very discriminative against travellers, the gypsy community, in regards to the Dell Farm eviction and lots of other stuff, and even to her sharing a name with a well-known travelling family name, which is Ward. I know many Wards and they're good people. And she's saying, oh no, I hope I'm not obviously related to gypsies because the name's Ward. But however, that's a description and just a message back to you, Sharon. I'm pretty sure that with the travellers, the feelings mutual, and I'm really, really glad that you're not a traveller too. Now, I just want to run over a few points about this TV programme and in general about how we feel living together as communities, because obviously what's happened now is because of this programme, it's really set the communities back. Even though we were making progress and it might not have been very fast with each other, we've now been set back. And last 2 days I've seen nothing but hatred and racial abuse and discrimination, like worse than I've seen it for a long time, and it's all because of this programme. So anyway, we've got the director Sharon Ward, that's well known to throw discriminative tweets and words against travellers, and and Channel 4 have let her direct and make a programme about travellers, and funnily enough it's called The Truth About Travellers. So we know that that was never going to be the truth. We know that it was never going to add anything good in it. So I would like to have a little say. So for the people like the travellers, non-travellers, whatnot, especially for the non-travellers that have watched the show and had the wool pulled over your eyes, please just give me a little while to say from my point of view. It's not all good, it's not all bad, but if you could have a listen out, I'd really appreciate it. So let's, like I say, start off from the director, Sharon Ward. Okay, so this Sharon Ward is obviously clearly hates all the gypsy community, and she's allowed to have this programme on Channel 4. They've aired it, and it's The Truth About Travellers. Now, in my opinion, I'm pretty sure there's quite a lot that's the same. When you aim or title something against somebody, so for instance, The Truth About Travellers, you have to include all travellers, all walks of life, all differences. Okay? You can't just say like travellers and then pick a few out, because when you're talking about travellers, The Truth About Travellers, you would have to travel for miles upon miles upon miles and meet so many hundreds of thousands of travellers to get a true description, to get, a true character and statistics. But what she's done is she's picked out a few, less than 300, 400, and gone off her statistics for 300 to 400 and then made it into travellers. So in my opinion, it's not truth about travellers, it's lies. Now I'm going to pick out a fair few points and then I'm going to go through them. You can message me, private message me, and I will do my absolute best to message back. Those of you who have known me or seen me before, I have done videos about this. It's something I feel very strongly, obviously as being a traveller and being in the community for years. And I like to protect my people, stick up for them. But I'm not going to keep going over the same things I've said in our previous videos because it just gets boring. So let's just start, for instance. I've seen over the last 3 or 4 weeks with all this COVID-19 that there's a lot of you out there that really, really like a conspiracy. Well, how about this for a conspiracy? In 1968, there was a new law brought out that the authorities had a legal requirement to help and rehome homeless gypsy families. Okay, and that was in 1968. Now, that legal requirement basically meant if there was a homeless family, gypsy family, okay, that was specifically for gypsy families, homeless, you would find them a plot within the, within a site. So a family would get a plot, and on the plot you'd have a washroom, a toilet house, running water, electric, etc., etc., and obviously council services, bins, lighting, etc. Now, when that became available and when that started off in 1968, there were 622 gypsy sites, trailer sites, if you wish, caravan sites. Now, that law went on till 1994. In 1994, that law was then abolished. Okay, that law was withdrawn and nobody from the gypsy community got help at all whatsoever. But now let me tell you true facts that you wouldn't have seen in things like this documentary on Channel 4. In 1968, when this law first came out, there were 622 trailer sites. And then a law came out to help us, to home us, to look after and protect us and our families, children, pets. But by the time it was withdrawn in 1994, there were 300 sites, less than half. From 1994 till now, there are still 300 sites. So within the time scale from 1968 to 1994, where there was supposed to be massive help for gypsy families, they took away more than half of our houses, or half of our homes. Yeah, and where we live, they took it away from us. And now, since the law's been stopped, they haven't so much as built one new site. That is corruption. A law that was supposed to help us took away more than 50% of our homes. But let me tell you how it was done. You would go onto a site, you'd live on a site, and then the caretaker, it never happened to my site. When I was younger, I grew up at the Hatching Town in Woking, and I spent a little while at Cobbards Hill in Guildford site, but I'm sure them two sites are still going. But what happened is, they would come up, the caretakers, and they would say, right, we're condemning the sites, the electrics, the sewage, the water, nothing is working properly, it's going to take too much money to fix and to put it, back to a livable habitat condition. So what they did was they'll promise you, give you a piece of paper, a sheet, and you sign it and say, right, there's going to be a new site built here, which has always been a couple of mile. Mr. Smith, Mr. Cooper, blah, blah, you can have that plot, this plot, that plot, bang. So all the people from that site will pretty much be, rehomed on that site with different plot numbers. That's fine. But the only problem is, it's going to take 8 or 9 months to build. So could you guys perhaps go away for a little while and come back? Not a problem. We were getting, promised new homes and new facilities. And so, of course, that's not a problem. So we come back, only to find what we'd been promised was mutt. There was no new site. What there were houses built on the site that we did have. Our homes had now got houses on them that we weren't offered and we weren't entitled to. And when we questioned this, I didn't. I was too young at the time. But when fathers and grandfathers questioned this and said, well, hang on, there's a law that says you have to help us by law to help. No, it doesn't work like that. But not anybody knows about that. Barely anybody knows about that. Only the older travellers. But that's how it worked. So a law that was meant to protect us stole our homes from under our feet. And by the time the law got withdrawn, less than half the homes were around. That, as I say, is conspiracy. And that is just corruption in the making, that there. So it's pretty much, let me sum it up to today's living, it's pretty much like DIY SOS coming to your home, saying move out for a week, we'll do it all up, we'll make it look good, we'll make everything, spot on, and then when you come back, everything will be brand new, and, you'll be really satisfied, pleased, etc. You go away for a week, you come back, there's another family in your home. You're not allowed to go in it. You're not allowed to get your possessions. You're not allowed nothing. Because we thought we were going to go back to that site and take some of our stuff. Nothing. So that is what it's like in comparison. So next time I see tweets, because I see tweets and stuff on Facebook and posts all the time about, the gypsies are now here, or the pikeys are stopping there and everything else. Next time you see that, just consider that we once had homes like you did, but ours got taken away from us. But listen, we didn't roll down and let have our bellies tickle. We did try. What happened is people would go to families, not all families in one sort of like area. There'll be a few scattered everywhere, but always out of the way from people because we don't want to bother you, and we don't want you to bother us. Although it's nice to live together anyway, but what happened is, we would all put our money together, our families, you know, all chip in to buy some land and think, right, well, you know, we're not asking for handouts. If the council aren't going to give us any land, we'll buy our own. So you buy your own land. That would home 15, 20, 10, depend on the size and the funds that you had available, families, okay? Then you'd spend money, well, you'd harden it off, put your caravans in. A lot of people say we live dirty, nothing of the fact. When we got our own place and we're allowed to live there, they're like palaces. Most of you that know properly Travellers, most of you that have been to Travellers and actually friends with them will vouch for that. But we're going to buy our own land. And then what would happen is, we'd spend money on planning because they promise you, oh yeah, it should be all right, bloody blah. Right at the end of it, they'll snatch you from under your feet saying, nah, get out, you're evicted. Which would leave us with less money, and then would leave us with no land, and would leave us with no homes, and would leave us with no hope. So that is why you will see most of Travellers on the road. You will see a lot of Travellers in car parks, and you will see a lot of Travellers on the field. Now, yeah, they will still pull away, even if they had a hard bay, because that's just the way Travellers are. Our holidays are made of hooking on trailers and pulling away for a little while and going somewhere. But there is no right to take away a man's home. And that is what happened. That was corruption. That was the law of 1968, 1994. They're going to help you. But by the time we come out of that law, half of our homes were gone. Promises, promises, promises. Nothing ever materialised. So you wonder next time you see people on the, you know, Travellers on a green, on a car park, instead of going up to the Traveller or going onto a social media platform and moaning about the Travellers, why don't you send a little note, a little notification to the council, the local council, saying, why are these people not housed? Why have they not got running water? Why have they not got power, mains power? Why have they not got a home? Question them, because we've done all we can do at our end. Okay, so then obviously that's that point sorted. Now, in regards to the crimes, I heard on the TV programme about the crimes. Now, the crimes committed by Travellers, the air coursing, 95% of the air coursing crimes are committed by Travellers. I completely agree with that. Yeah, I know a few non-Travellers that do air coursing and lamping, but not many of them. Most of them are travelling people. But also, I don't know any Travellers that do, fox and hound hunting. Now, I know that both are banned in 1994 or 95, I think. They're banned. The air coursing was banned. But still, you get people going out hare coursing, you get people going out the hunts. Now, a lot of the hunts now obviously are done just by scent, and no foxes are hurting them, so they say. But there are also illegal fox hunts that go on, and vice versa. But it just goes to show that it's the Travellers that are picked out and not anybody else. Now, in regards to like I say, you saying about the crime and you highlighting the crime. Thursday night on your TV programme, I saw you go all the way to New Zealand to film or watch a film that had got Travellers stealing from a shop in it. Of all the crimes that non-gypsies and gypsies and Asians and whatever else, all walks of life, have done in Britain, in the UK, but you travelled to New Zealand to make a gypsy look bad. So you've gone out your way, quite clearly, to get any sort of clip to make us look bad. What about all the Eastern Europeans that come over and steal in the charity boxes? Now, I know I shouldn't and I know I wouldn't. This is just not me. But you are tarnishing everybody, Sharon Ward. I mean, more than anything, you're lying. It's slander. But tarnishing everybody with the same brush. Again, it's happening again. But if I was to say to you, for instance, I'm just going to think of you, Jamie Bolger. Okay, little boy got murdered, found on a railway track. Jimmy Savile sexually assaulted girls. Even one of your favourites, old Ralph Harris, sexually assaulted four girls under the age. Ian Huntley killed, I think it's Jessica Wells and another little girl, bless their hearts. Raped them, sexually assaulted them, burned them. Just lots of Fred and Rosemary West. You've also got Dr. Harry Shipman, a doctor, killed over 200 of his own patients. And the list goes on and on and on. Some serious, sick crimes committed by the non-gypsy community. All right, but when you air them TV shows about them people, You air them as Britain's worst attacks or Britain's worst murders or the most shocking this. You don't say the non-gypsy community commit this or the truth about the non-gypsy community. Because you know that it's individual people. So you don't want to be tarred with the same brush yourself, but you're quite happy to do it to travellers. So let me just ask you this. Let me just ask you this question. I've asked this on video before, and I generally don't believe that this should be. But however, let me just ask you this question. So to all the non-gypsies that watch the TV programme on Channel 4, believe it to be a true description of us travellers, let me just ask you a question. Because of Jimmy Savile, Ralph Harris, Dr. Shipley, the Suffolk Strangler, and many others, and the Jamie Bolger murders, can I now class all you non-gypsies as child molesters, child sex offenders, child murderers, serial killers? So when we pass non-gypsies in the street, do we hide our children just in case you touch them? No, because although you don't think it, we got common sense, travellers communities, and why ever would we judge you because of something somebody else done? You, not all of you, admittedly, but you, because of this programme, especially Sharon Ward, is tarnishing every single traveller based on a few small facts that a few travellers may have done, and any other stuff, obviously there isn't even any evidence. But how can she possibly say that all of this, you know, every traveller is causing this big uproar, but when a non-gypsy goes out and kills someone, it's not the fault of any other non-gypsies? Well, if it's right for one, it's got to be right for the other, isn't it? So can I class every non-gypsy as a paedophile? Because when you look at them things on the internet and the feeds that you get about these paedophiles, I've never once seen one about a travelling person or a gypsy community. It's all about non-gypsy communities, and they're chasing the paedophile hunters. But can we class you all as those people? No, of course we can't. Because why? It's not true. It just wouldn't make sense to judge any of you based on what a small minority of human beings have done. So when travellers do something wrong, when Asians do something, Pakistanis, Muslims, Christians, whenever they do something wrong, it's not just the Muslims or the travellers or the non-travellers, it's a small minority of humans. So I feel it's wrong to make a TV programme based on the true facts of somebody, you know, of a whole race, a whole religion, if you're only getting the facts of a few small things and you're really going out your way to dig out the badness. And there's just, you know, a couple of other things is, you know, when we walked down the street when we were younger, we got discriminated, we got spat at, we got things thrown at us, we got abuse hurled out of cars as they were going along. Now, I know you're all saying about what travellers do nowadays, they don't respect it, and yeah, you're right, sometimes people pull away and they don't respect the area they live in. But this is like catch-22, and this is where it's really hard to get everybody to work together, and it's probably never going to happen. But these people, yeah, they are wanting respect, and I understand. I respect this is how I work, just me. I respect everybody, and even people I've only just met, I respect them, and then it's up to them to keep the respect, lose respect. I don't really, you know, I hope we can all respect each other for years and time to come. But if you don't respect someone, like lots of travellers, you'll never give any of us travellers respect. Never. So what happens is people pull into, let's say, your community, and then you disrespect them, you put loads of shit about their posts, the travellers are here, the pikeys are here, let's burn them, let's put bleach on them, blah, 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 and you expect them to be nice to you. Well, from children, we are hated. There is so many things I've seen firsthand and heard and whatnot, and seen on posts and articles about wishing travellers and families all dead. It'd be better if they weren't born. We should castrate them, blah, blah, blah. So from children, from birth, before we've even taken our first breath, you hate us. And then we're treated like crap through school, discriminated through you know, we get bullied at school, and then, you know, we get just discriminated in sports, and you can't go to restaurants, or weddings getting cancelled last minute when you've got everything organised, discriminated for years, and then, you know, you turn around and demand us to respect you. Respect us back and we will respect you. I guarantee you. Ask most non-gypsy communities that know travelling people. They will tell you that we are nice people as a whole. But I know in all walks of every life and in every community there are a small minority of people that do ruin it and are a little bit wild or more than wild. You know, there are killers and there are rapists in all walks of life and communities. But you should judge it as humans, not as a certain type of person. Just for instance, if you had 15 children, all at the age of 5, and you could have, black children in there, Pakistani children there, Muslims, Christians, travellers, non-travellers, Polish, etc., put them all in the room. At the age of 5, you know and I know them children will play lovely. They don't care if they can't understand each other. They don't care if they're a different colour. They don't care if they, what they say. They just want to play and have fun. There is no hatred. There is no discrimination. There is nothing in that room because it's innocent. Now you take them 15 children out of that room and you put 15 years in between them, okay? And then you give them 15 years of listening to people, let's just say, for instance, Sharon Ward, the Channel 4 documentary. Give them 15 years of looking at Facebook and articles about what you say about travellers and then what travellers say about this and then things that happen. Then, 15 years later, when they're all 20, put them back in a room together. They haven't done nothing to each other. They've not hurt each other. They've not said anything to each other. But because of the hatred and racism that's manifested between people like Sharon Ward, when you put them in a room together, there will be tension and they will hate each other. And there will be a dislike and their backs will be up and there will be racist thoughts going through it because life is manifested hate and you pick it up along the way from people like Sharon Ward and Channel 4. Anyway, so there's lots of things that go on, and another thing I feel really strongly about, and I want to stick up for the travellers again on this one here. You say about fly tipping, but in my opinion, there's a lot of fly tippers out there, an awful lot of fly tippers that are non-travellers that are tipped up. I always see as soon as something goes on. I said this in my last video before, and I'll say it again. Like beaches, Camber Sands, the protest that went up in London, environmental protest mad as well. They leave mountains of rubbish. And then a travelling man will go, I don't know, and well, they say it's travellers, but they drop a bit of rubbish. They say, oh, well, they pulled away and we wouldn't mind if they cleaned up after themselves and everything else. Who's going to clean up after these people? The same people that clean up after you when you have your raves. The same people that clean up after you when you've been on the beach, thousands of you. The same people at the protest in London. That's who's going to clean up. Same people who clean your mess up. Stop pointing the fingers at travellers. Like I say, there are hundreds of thousands of travellers, all slightly different in their own different way, their own preference, their own character, but not all, and far from minority of them are bad and criminalised. Now, if you can stop judging people by one or two minority and treat people with respect, then I'm pretty sure your IQ level will raise just a little bit more. And like I say, I don't want to say just because of Jimmy Savile or all the others that you guys are rapists and child molesters and etc. But however, you are doing the same to us, and it is unfair. Now, what I will say is, with Sharon Ward, what she has caused now, from what I can see, is it's quite lucky in respects that, the children are off school at the moment. Because this here, Sharon Ward, will cause so many children to be bullied. This will cause so many more fights and uproars in towns. This will cause so much more disturbance, thieving, fighting, because of your program, because of the hate that you have spread. And let's just say this, it's not just the fact that you've spreaded hate, you've actually committed slander. Now this is, you can be legally prosecuted for slander. Taking someone's name, someone's race or religion, tarnishing it, telling lies, twisting the truth, saying this and saying that, and then publicising it, such as social media platforms, and televising it. This is exactly what you have done. Because how can you call this title The Truth About Travellers and Crime when even the fight at the car wash that you aired on that wasn't Travellers at all? It had nothing to do with Travellers. They were local lads. So how can you say it's a truth about that, Travellers, and it isn't, because it's a small minority of Travellers, and not all Travellers are like it. If you've done a documentary about all Travellers, then it should include all of us. Another thing I'd like to just brush up on as well is you have gone out of your way to find things bad about the travelling and gypsy community. Now, in my opinion, whatever a traveller does, it gets highlighted 10 times worse. And let me give you an example. Jim Davidson, I think it was 1996, doing a stand-up sketch, and he said he was talking about domestic violence, and he went into some quite explicit detail. And I think, if I'm honest, he had a few of them on the stage too, as he used to like to. But at the end of the show, he got applauded, everyone laughed all the way through, and they even made a DVD of him. Just of recently, Alan Carr, he made a joke, sick joke about domestic violence, but being that I like stand-up and I go to shows, I did laugh myself, I must admit. But everybody else laughed. There was travellers, non-travellers, and all sorts of walks of life in there. We all clapped, he got applauded, and they made a DVD of him. Now, the other day during this isolation, Billy Joe Saunders made a light-hearted joke, yeah? And he didn't highlight domestic violence, he was just having a little laugh and a joke, okay? He got his boxing licence revoked. He got death threats. He got a huge fine and was made to apologise publicly in front of thousands of people just to belittle him just because he's a traveller. What's the difference? Humans, humans, humans. Why? Why do we get treated worse? Also, Tyson Fury, okay? None of this gets highlighted. I wouldn't want to fight Deontay Wilder for no money in the world. I'm scared of my wife. Nah, not really. I'll stripe her. Oh. But this man felt Deontay Wilder and gave his whole purse away to a charity. What a man. What a man, seriously. Now, what you don't hear about, and I've seen this loads, we've done it ourselves, right? People on the streets who are homeless. They've got no food and they're freezing cold. Travellers go there and you see it all the time. This isn't for publicity. This isn't just to look good. It makes us feel good, but it's because we're helping someone. I don't know why, you know, we go out, we give them soup, just a flask of soup, a couple of disposable cups, give everyone soup, sleeping bags. You see travellers doing it all the time. You know, we filled food banks up. We did a food bank challenge and things like that. It's a bit of a laugh, but more than anything, it's to help people. So all the people now that are in COVID, you know, isolation COVID, and got tons and tons and tons of food for the food banks, I tell you what, 80% of that was through travellers, you know, donating all of that food. Christmas time, Great Ormond Street, travelling boys went up there and filled up 2 lorries, mate, 2 lorries, and dropped it off to the hospital. Now, during COVID, even up at the hospital where I am, travelling boys loading vans up, fruits and vegetables and all sorts, and meats and you know, other bits of chocolates and crisps, snacks, tea bags, take them to the hospital, where it's dangerous to go in the first place, risking their lives to take it there. But none of that will get shown, will get aired. No one will ever talk about that, because they would rather see, they choose to see the worst in people. People are happier, especially at the news and this Sharon Ward, they're happy to see that they prefer to see the worst in people. They choose to see the worst in people. Well, I would prefer to see the best in people. I would prefer to take the positives from people. Every one of my friends and my friends list know that I have been friends with most of them for years. Know that I'm not a horrible person. I won't steal off them. I won't cheat off them. There's the odd joke thrown about here and there. I generally care about all of my friends. And most travellers do. You call us dirty pikeys. But I will guarantee you now, on the law of averages, you go into 10 traveller people's trailers or homes and then 10 non-traveller people's homes, I guarantee you I know who I would want to eat off of them. And that is a proven fact. But anyway, Before I go, I would just like to say one thing. That's about Travellers. You know, I'm here. I'll stick up for us. And another thing you should do, boys, is I know the reason why we don't really post a lot is in fear that people will find out who we are and what we do for business-wise, and then they won't employ us. So then we can't feed our family. So then we can't provide for our family. Because I know most of us Travellers are hard-working people. We work, you know, we like workaholics, and we provide for the family. And it's a great community to live in. We all sit outside. We will always have fires outside, always cooking outside, always snuggling up together, having a laugh, a joke, a sing-song and whatnot. And it's a lovely community to be in. And I wouldn't want it any other way. But you've got to start sticking up for yourself, because I tell you what will happen, boys. You know, if you don't start sticking up for yourself and taking a risk and coming on here and saying how you feel and a little bit about yourself and what you do to help the community, there are people out here like this Sharon Ward who would quite happily see all of us burnt to death. They will manifest their hate and pull the wool out of all the other people's eyes. So eventually we'll get nothing. So make a stand now. But anyway, getting back, I want to say just a quick thing to a young chap called Tom Moore. Now, most of you have seen this young fella doing the laps around his garden. Just want to say, Tom Moore, listen, I take my hat off to you. You have done absolutely brilliant. To come from a young man being a hero, to step in at 100 years old being a hero again, and then to turn around and supply the heroes, what more could I say? I don't think there's many men on the planet that deserve the applause that for what you have done, you know, just recently, and the millions that you have raised. You know, you gave us freedom before, and now you're helping us gain freedom again. So I take my hat off to you, Tom Moore. You will certainly be getting a birthday card from our household this year. But people, apart from that, I just want to say that to get that off my chest. I want to say, if you have listened and you are at the end, I appreciate you listening. Especially if you are of the non-gypsy community that watched the TV programme on Channel 4 and didn't know what. Well, I hope you can see that that it isn't a true description of Travellers. Sharon Ward might have picked a small minority of a certain people and really dug deep on them and went over to New Zealand to get clips and whatnot else. But that is not a true description of the gypsy community. Okay. So I wish everybody all the very best. I hope that this COVID is over soon. We can all go to work and start enjoying each other's company again. And more than anything, I just hope that we can all learn to respect each other to a certain extent, where we don't have to keep slating each other. I mean, let's go back to Caroline Fleck. Let's all be kind. Let's try and keep up for a little bit longer this time. And just be there for each other. I mean, you know, at the moment we're in a situation, and all of our communities need us, every one of us, to help out. Whether you be picking up a bag of shopping, or whether you be changing a light bulb for an old guy down the road. Everybody needs each other. So it's in a time now where it doesn't matter what race, religion, colour you are. Everybody is needed. But stay indoors. Let's get over this. Help each other out. And like I say, if you've got any negative comments, put the negative comments on there. I'll even reply to them, whatever else. But let's just try and get on with each other, and let's not listen to people like Sharon Ward, who wishes just to cause more hatred in the world and set us back as a community, when I think that we were starting to take steps towards living with each other and getting on. She just made things 10 times worse. But please, let's pull together and really try and make things work. So let's stay in and get over this COVID and enjoy our lives. All right? Peace out, people.